Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. All right, we have another amazing event here at the Pirate Broadcast, and I just want to thank everyone for being here. Thank everyone that joins us today. We go live 5 days a week, and we just want to make sure that you have an opportunity to meet interesting people doing interesting things. And today we have Craig Burnie Burns in the house today as a pirate. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Russ. I really, really appreciate you having me on. And you woke me up, got me in the shower early and a cup of coffee. So I love it. Thank you so much.
Well, what a great way to start the day, because, you know, I enjoy the fact that we can actually get together, have a conversation, and maybe inspire some people to do something more, because I know you've been in the business a long time, and I want to talk a little bit about your business, because you're in a business that is not only changing as an industry, and it's also been impacted by the pandemic that we're going through right now. And a lot of things are changing. So I know you're hustling. I know you're doing everything you can. And I know you're the kind of guy that's going to make it matter and make it happen out there. So what are some things that you're doing that have changed since, let's say, January 1st of 2020 that makes a difference?
Oh, boy. I mean, we all have, the whole world has been impacted, and individually, we've all been majorly impacted. I do not know a single person out there at all, and I don't think there is, that their life, their business, their reality has not changed in a very major way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this isn't just casual change. This is something like, oh, I don't do business like that anymore. Change immediately.
Yeah.
And it is certainly that way in the media industry. And let me just, if I could, most people only intersect what I do through entertainment.
Yeah.
That always turns out to be the lexicon that everybody refers to. And it's such a shame, because the industry is so much more enormous than that.
Yeah.
Almost to a point of incomprehension. It's bigger than that. And I'll give you a very old statistic, 450 hours of uploads to YouTube every minute of media content. You start and it's more than that now. That was from a few years ago.
Yeah.
The
It's
industry.
accelerating too.
Oh, what's that?
It's accelerating too.
At a rate that it's once again almost incomprehensible. And even more, you think about the amount of Zoom calls that went up in March, from the beginning of March to the end of March. That alone would be how many hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of hours. All of this is to say that media is, for most people, they think of it in terms of entertainment, but you have to open your mind so much huger than that to really start comprehending what is going on. Let me just give you let me answer your question. This is my usual thing. Of course, I diatribe on before I actually set the stage, but
absolutely. Continue though. I love, it's a fabulous story and I want to know more.
Yeah. What I do is lighting. So I got into lighting and I did that. That is an art more than a science. Obviously, you're walking into new environments all the time. You have different messaging that you're trying to get across all of the time. I'm a very firm believer in that you are not trying to illuminate the subject. You are trying to create an emotional backdrop for the
Yeah.
story to be told.
Yeah.
And that is true all whether you're doing a photo or anything.
Yeah.
That is my job. That's how I've always looked at my job. You know, um, I was a guy who was so lucky. I got into the business. I was 40 years old, became a $50 a day PA. I was in the automobile business up in the Northwest in Tacoma, where I know you're from the Seattle area as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was up there. They bought a company in Los Angeles, transferred me down here for 2 years. And then we're going to send me to Lafayette, Indiana at an Isuzu plant they had there. And I had been in the big city. I'd been in LA for 2 years. You can't send the boy back to the farm after that. So I said, well, maybe I'm not going to go there. And I just literally did not know what I was going to do. But I figured, hey, if I can't make a living in LA, I don't know where the hell I'm going to make a living at.
No
Right.
kidding. No
And
kidding.
so I got on. A friend of mine just graduated for AFI. I got on as a $50 a day PA and went into I came from a world of VIN numbers and automobile parts and people and clients and customers to
Uh,
this ethereal world of people. Like I couldn't even figure out the decision-making process, and that fascinated me. So I just dove right into it. Got picked up, long story short, in about 2006, became the biggest grip and lighting provider south of Los Angeles.
wow.
And so I owned Orange County, San Diego. I mean, when I say I own it, I was the biggest
The
person. And there were
biggest. Yeah.
many other providers, of
Yeah.
course. Um, went into that and really started studying the industry. It was just like um, a guy who is fascinated by something, and then you lay another layer. You're always wanting to learn. I know you got to be the same
Oh yeah.
way, Russ.
Oh yeah.
And so you're layering all of that on top of each other, and became more and more fascinated with the industry and the people's stories in the industry.
Yeah.
Therefore, about 4 years ago, I started something called Bernie's Apple Box, and I would just interview basically all my acquaintances and friends and DPs and makeup artists, and I talk to them about their story. And through that, then you gain some notoriety, like I know
Yeah.
you've seen off this show, and
Yeah.
you become, people think, oh, they know you. So what? I'm in Orange County, which is about 40 miles away from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, that 40 miles from Hollywood could just as easily be 4,000 miles from Hollywood, because unless you're in that bubble, you're
Yeah.
not in. And I got the greatest compliment about 6 months ago. Actually, just at the first of this year, I met somebody who I knew who he was. You know what I mean? And he came up to me and he goes, "Bernie, you're the most famous guy in Hollywood nobody's ever met."
Well,
So
well,
I
Bernie,
made inroads. Yeah.
that is fantastic. And for a lot of people that haven't had exposure, I've done a couple of films. I did audio work in a couple of indie films.
Okay.
And once you're behind the scenes and once you see, kind of how the sausage is made, it really changes your perspective on the process. And you're absolutely correct. It's like it's a process. It's like this isn't not like nuts and bolts. This is a much different process that we go through, and assembling it and watching it evolve as it's being there. And your job, when done really well, is pretty much invisible to the end result, and so that's what's fascinating me is all these moving parts come together to just create this emotional scene that just flows and nobody notices anything that's going on. And it could be in the back of it could be in a back alley somewhere in a sound set that that they put up in a couple of days. And
Absolutely.
it's like,
Absolutely.
so now that you're a pirate, and thank you for telling that story, because I think it's really fascinating for people to understand that you were doing an industry, a completely unrelated industry, dropped into a city that you really weren't familiar with, and all of a sudden you're you're said, I got to figure something out here, and
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing right now. We're 40 years later, we're trying to figure something out here. And so some of the things we're doing, just like live streaming now, it's going back to the idea that we can still connect in a different, unique way. And the doors have opened up to where it's not just interviewing people in LA in the industry. It's you can interview anyone in the industry now around the world.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so how has that changed your business and how you're looking at your business going forward at this point in time?
Well, let me just cover a couple points. No one that I have ever brought on set, when I ask them the question, was this like you thought it was? And they all say, no, it's nothing like I thought it was when you're making a movie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Or any project. I use
yeah,
movie interchangeable. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Usually I say show, but no, it's not. Also, I think the other thing, let me just say before I address that, but is that most of Hollywood, what people don't understand is mom and pop. You see those studios and you think they make the movie. They don't. They hire subcontractors
Yeah.
and independent people to make
Mhm.
those movies, and that's
Yeah.
their skill, so that, just to put that in perspective. But how things have changed and come up, first of all, let me just tell you this, that I adopted Facebook in 2008, and
Mm.
I was somebody who was lucky enough, I took pictures because I was fascinated by the industry, took pictures of all my shoots for the 10 years prior.
Mhm.
I was so inept, I didn't even want to create my own Facebook page. I had my editor do that for me, and I had him digitize all of these pictures, of sets and stuff. And I thought,
Mm.
oh, I'll just post these every day. People say you can market with it. Market with Facebook. I'll see if
Right.
that's the truth. And so I just posted them. Things were not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And I went to the Society of Camera Operators Facebook page, and I thought these people would like my pictures. So I started just asking for friend requests from there. I went from 125 to 1,250 in 2 weeks. In all the appropriate Facebook timeouts and all that
Right,
stuff. You
right.
know what I mean? And and then got all these guys. Well, that went nuts. Probably 2 years after that, I was earning $100,000 a year just off of Facebook. Not
Wow.
not my other business, just off
Yeah.
of Facebook. That really turned me on to the power of social media. And I will say this: if you want a strategy for success from here on out, I will say it in 3 words: adapt, adapt, adapt.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Adapt to it.
Yeah.
Whatever is out there, whatever is in front of you. Usually the barometer is whatever makes you most uncomfortable. Adapt to that. You
Outside
know,
your comfort zone,
if you're
beyond.
outside your comfort zone, you're in the best place you could be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I have to believe that you're a lot like I am. You can kind of see you got enough life experience that you could see how people are reacting and responding, and you can kind of zig when they're zagging, and move around obstacles in a lot of ways because you can actually say, okay, been there, done that, bought the shirt, had a cup of coffee there.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to go there again.
Done it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna do something else. And
Been
so
there, done that. Yeah.
yeah, so a lot of the movie industry now, the theaters are closed. A lot of people are streaming movies, and like you said, a lot of mom and pops, a lot of indie filmmakers are creating a lot of content that they're searching for places for it to live. And I have to believe that there's a lot of people that need assistance, need lighting, need, sound, all of these ancillary businesses that help them produce this content, whether it's, Hulu or Netflix or, a small series or whatever it happens to be, and then all of a sudden blow it up. And so how do you make those connections now? And is that changed or evolving, What's the big sticking points that you're working through now?
Mostly it's just lack of people getting funding to do anything at this very immediate COVID point. You
Mm,
know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's probably the biggest thing. Actually, there's no shortage of work in this industry once you're established and once you've proven what you can do. People get pigeonholed in this industry, and I think that's up to the individual not to let that happen unless
yeah,
they want it to. There's
yeah,
there's people that only want to do what they want to do.
sure.
I'll tell you though, the fact is that here's what I'm operating under us, and this is I think you will understand this what I'm thinking. I am actively trying to unlearn everything I know. That's
Mm,
really the thing that I am looking at right now and thinking that's the poison that's keeping me from behind. It's not the base knowledge. Don't get me wrong. It's not this type of light where I put it to get the best look. Nothing like that. But
mhm,
what was my business process before and how do I adapt it to what's going on? I'll tell you, I just posted in Facebook this morning. I'd encourage Burnie Burns. It's my personal site on Facebook. I also have On-Set Lighting, which is my sales site. I have Bernie's Grip and Lighting, which is my rental site, all that good stuff. But
sure.
Burnie Burns, and on my Facebook, and I posted 6 articles. Okay, I put one up at the top and put the rest in the comment
Okay.
on AI, the current state of AI movie making.
Mm,
I think we are going off the farm. I think in a very short order that you are not even going to need an actor. If you're creative enough, you can create that. If you can create the dialogue, you
mm,
can essentially do an entire movie with AI. It's close now, but it's not completed yet,
mm,
obviously. Like
yeah,
anything in the startup period, it's not completed yet.
yeah.
So um
It's on the horizon.
Oh, it's on the horizon, and this is going to go meteorically. I really think, I'm working now in a 5-year window. I think we're 5-year obsolescence window that
Wow.
business models need to change every 5 years. If you're doing something, you start it, you make it, you hit the middle point. That's the time you should start be looking at a new model. And that, what you have to get down is to the base of what you actually do and transform that base with new materials, new technology, new ways of communicating. You know,
Mm,
we're in a time that we always think old guys like us. We always think, oh, the young people they know how to do that. I'm finding that's not true. I'm finding
that's
that's
not
not
the
true.
case.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
It's the
personality type.
curious, it's the curious ones that understand the technology.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll fight through it. You know,
Yeah.
me, I'm an old guy. I lived with a phone. Why everybody was getting on computers and doing that in the office, I was on set lugging sandbags. So, you know, this I had to enter it in a way that was very foreign to me. In fact, to this day, I use this. My
Yeah.
phone is my primary communication source. And I only broke out my laptop here literally in March. Really, once the COVID hit, I broke it out as a 5-year-old laptop. I'd had it for 5 years, but never used it.
Well, I have to believe, and that brings up a great point, and I think that we could both talk about it because we both invested a lot of energy in this, is the relationships that we have with the people that are doing the work. The people that need help are gonna they got Bernie on speed dial, right? It's like, hey, I need some things. I need an overhead. I
Yep,
need some equipment here. I got to
yep,
shoot. Some things didn't show up. Can you help me out, Bernie? And they're on
yep.
speed dial, and that's the relationship that you built over long term. And I don't think that is going to change. I think that
No, that's even going to be more golden.
yes,
That's even more golden.
yeah.
That
Who can I
how do I get
call?
to who? Yes,
Who
yes,
can I
yes,
call that can actually contribute to this outcome,
absolutely.
regardless of the technology?
You're dead on. It's the personal relationship that will have the value.
Yeah.
That has the value, and here I operate under this. I always thought I could do everything. I realize now I can do one, maybe two things well. Everything else I suck at. You know, I just I've got to go get the actual person's things. You think you know it as a man too. This is another thing. As a guy, you think, oh, I know that. Oh, I can figure that out. Oh, I can do that. No, you can't. Quit wasting your time. Get over there and
Yeah.
hire it out. Get the
Yeah. Find the
knowledge.
right
Find the
person to do it.
knowledge. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Quit
Find the-
guessing.
That brings up a point that I think it'd be important for us to discuss is the idea that, as AI comes on board and you're thinking, 5 years potentially, your industry could completely evolve into, a cursor on a computer screen. Think about that.
That may be a little bit stimulated a timeline, but
Yeah.
but yes. Think about this. Just think about this alone, editing. And boy, I'll tell you what, people do not like to hear this message in my industry. I mean, I'm not like, they're not welcoming me. Oh, that's great news, Burnie. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Think about editing. What is editing? If you have digitized media now, it's not on film, it's not on tape, it's nothing.
Yeah.
It's digitized, right? You put that into an AI machine, it knows the words, it knows the pictures, it knows the cadence, it knows who's talking, it knows what they're saying. Why can't the AI go in there, get backup, B-roll, cutaways, pictures, whatever that are appropriate for the edit, and edit the whole damn thing? And people, all the editors, they go, well, you need the personal, you need that touch, that emotional touch, and they're right. They are completely right. But you know what? How many people in media, where you're from and where what I produce, will gladly settle for 90% at about $10,000 less, right?
Yeah.
A whole lot, and those people, that's what's going to kill it. So I look at right now what we're going to in media, and it doesn't matter which area of media you are or even advertising a market, it's only going to be the top 5% of the current participants that are going to survive through the new year, into the new world. And that's because they are talented. They have the top talent. They know, the difference between the rest of the team and Michael Jordan may only be like 3%. Those are the 3%ers. They can put that next level on it that makes it a winner. That's who's going to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also to that point is that ultimately it's great stories that survive the process.
Oh, absolutely. The human story.
Camera. You can do a film with your camera, your phone even nowadays. I mean, you're shooting 4K with a phone and
there are movies made with the phone now.
Yeah,
there are movies. Yeah,
there are movies. And the reality is, and Burnie, you've seen this happen in your industry. It's like great stories survive.
Great stories survive, and they're all about overcoming. They're all about overcoming yourself, if you will. You know what I mean? And all that. And that's what people want. Look, we're a human, well, let me tell you a moniker that everybody in my world is sick of hearing me saying. Television, and you put that in essence, movies, social media, but television is the best emotion manufacturing machine ever devised by man. Period.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah. And it is. You think about it. And think about, why does advertising work? Because they hit you in your heart every time, or they try to. If they don't let the messaging get in the way. But the best things are the ones that maybe even say nothing. There's no words. There's just a feeling, and that's it. So that there is nothing without emotion. People keep thinking it's the technology, it's the message, the information. It is not the information, it's not the technology, it's the human contact, it's the emotion. And
Yeah.
I will say this, I'll even extrapolate this. We are a highly over emotionalized society. Certainly in the
Mm.
United States right now, I think we're all seeing that. A lot
Yeah.
of that comes from a whole generation of people that are my and your age being raised strictly by emotional responses,
Yeah.
you know. And of
Yeah.
course we're ad guys, we're marketing guys. I mean, we're making the propaganda, you know. But
We're part of the machine.
oh, we're part of, oh, everybody's part of the machine. Yeah,
Yeah.
in our country, and yeah, I'll jump on my soapbox in a second here. In our country, the education system only produces employees and consumers. There
Yeah.
are a few chickens that get out from underneath the fence, but
Yeah.
and nobody flies over it. It's underneath.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that is our job and that's what they want. The farther away from you get from being an employee or just an abject consumer, okay,
Mhm.
and buying into things and buying things that you don't really need but you think you want, that is freedom.
That is freedom. That is freedom. And and I love the freedom of what it's almost a paradox, Bernie, because it's part of the machine, but the freedom I feel by creating things like the pirate broadcast, that I can just,
Yeah,
you are the media. You are the media. And I talk to
exactly.
everyone that's listening and everybody that's paying attention is that you have a story to tell, and it's typically a story that is about overcoming a challenge, getting past and through and around and whatever means, hook and crook. You can, get under the fence, just like the chickens that you were talking about.
Right.
Sometimes you get out and sometimes you get moving. And that's the story that brings that emotional touch to the audience, that allows us to, imagine a different outcome. It's like, hey, I think I could do that. I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
could. There's possibility. There's hope in that story.
Oh, totally. And you know what? That is really the crux. I always like to say everybody that's got it, everybody that got into the movie business did it
Mhm.
in a dark theater because there was something happened to them emotionally. It
Yeah.
wasn't a logical thing. They sat there and they felt something and they said, I want to inspire like that. I want to be like that. Now, maybe they ended up on Madison Avenue, maybe they ended up in cable TV. I don't know. But
Yeah.
everybody that wants to be a communicator fell in love with it in that dark theater. And what I would challenge people to do, because if you think about this now, and we're a couple guys in the marketing industry. Don't,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm talking to you as a marketer now. You
Yeah.
know, we watch millions and millions an hour of content in our lifetimes.
Uh-huh.
It's almost constant in my house, and it has been since I was a born in 1951. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? We always
Yeah.
had a TV. Um, People never question why they're being shown what they're showing. They never actually question it. They hear it, they
Yeah.
look at it, they assess it, but they never stop and say, why is somebody giving me that message? Why is someone talking to me in this way, even the format?
Yeah.
What what questions am I not hearing? They always hear the questions that are being asked, but they never ask themselves, what questions am I not hearing? You
Yeah.
know, that is something that we all have to be challenge our own self-responsibility with, and
Yeah.
what we're seeing out there. You
Yeah.
know,
The
that is
question behind the question.
the question behind the question. And
Yeah.
as marketers, we do that all the time. I mean, I am going over there and lighting that morning kitchen scene to really bring you into it, to make you feel like not that it's your home, but that's the home you want.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. And I'm not even
You
going to
light
consider anything.
Bernie lights the desire.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Boy, yeah, you're a copy guy. I can tell right now. Good. I like that. Bernie
So
lights the desire.
yeah, so nuggets of knowledge, Bernie. This is an insight, a small slice of pie into the industry that's changing and evolving. And I appreciate the fact that you're making a difference. You're making it matter. You know, you're out on social media when a lot of people in our vintage are
Oh,
running away, you know, hair on fire. I'm not going to touch it. And
yeah.
so I applaud you for your efforts. I really respect what you're doing. And I would love the opportunity to have you back on the Pirate Broadcast to talk about this in the future episode. And
Anytime.
I know that we could talk for quite a while. And I'm involved in a couple of projects with movie right now. You know, My Golden Blood is a project that I got going on with Wendy. You know, there's some other people involved, and it's exciting to see the transition and what we can just create out of nothing. It's an idea, you know, it pulls out from the ether and comes down, and you have an idea, and all of a sudden you're putting things together, and you have to create something to make it move forward, to bring it forward and get other people involved. And there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving things. So it's exciting and challenging at the same time, especially in these times that we're going through. So
Yeah. Yeah. The golden age of opportunity, I'm calling this, because every time I turn around, something's hitting me with another opportunity. And I think if people open up their minds, they can see that and look at it in that way. And no, this is a great time to be alive. I like to say too, and I know we got to go, but I always like to say I finally lived long enough to see the future.
that's awesome. I love that. Well, Bernie, this has been fantastic. I love that we're connected and you're a pirate. I look forward to our future conversations and enjoy the opportunity to share a few things with the pirate community. If you're not connected to Bernie, get connected. He's on LinkedIn. It looks like we had some challenges with LinkedIn this morning, so I'll have to figure that out. LinkedIn is not always live stream.
Not always
I'm not a hater.
Yeah. No.
Some days are challenging, and that's all we can do. So I love the fact that we're here. And as you know, Bernie, kindness is cool, smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Take care, buddy.
You too, my brother. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.